this how-to, I want to show you how to spawn anywhere on the planet. There's several other videos that discuss creating a custom airport, say on a glacier or in a lake or other body of water, but I'm just going to show you how to spawn basically anywhere on the planet using flight plan. I've picked a flight plan I have from LaGuardia to JFK International, just around New York City, and I thought what we could do is find a helipad somewhere in New York and we'll just spawn on the helipad. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use the Savage Cub because there's zero chance of me being able to successfully take a helicopter off from a helipad, but for fun we'll try and take off with the Savage Cub. It's got a pretty short takeoff, so we'll see what happens, but it should make my example either way. Let's look in Midtown Manhattan. We need a tall building, so let's look for the deep shadows, and then need to find something. Maybe there is something with a helipad already. So you can see what Google did is it's giving me the 3D view, which can be neat to check out the sites, but I actually want a straight down view so we can get a better look at the rooftops themselves. Well, here's the Flatiron Building and the Empire State. Here's a MetLife building. Looming Tower, we'll see about that. Alright, well, it's got a flat roof. So what we're going to want to do is actually switch to map mode, because the satellite image is skewed, you know, as if you're looking at it from space. You're not looking directly down at it. So we need to try and spawn our aircraft directly on the roof, where the roof is, not where it's pictured. So we'll just call it Met. I'm going to make it an airport, so it tries to set us at the detected elevation. I'll show you how to set an elevation as well. It's going to set us at whatever the elevation is for this point in space. We should be able to open a browser and find... This says 58 feet. Oh wait, that's part of the latitude and longitude. Google's not going to give me the elevation because that's in the city. If we were in the mountains, I could use that. Oh, I've used this before. Decode.fr. So it's 58 meters. It's already in meters. That gives us the ground elevation. We'd have to know how tall the MetLife building is. 246 meters, so 58 and 246 is 304. Darn it, I don't know why I hit cancel. Okay, and since my flight plan is in feet, it converts it to 997 feet for me. That said, again, this elevation really doesn't matter. I could have left it at 0 because this is an airport. Now, if I want to spawn in flight, that makes a big difference. Let me go ahead and delete LaGuardia. And let's double check, since I messed around looking things up, let's kind of figure out where we are on top of the building. Yeah, see, because the property itself extends for a ways on both sides before the skyscraper itself. So we kind of need to be kind of right where we're at, I think. So I'm going to move it. And do I want my aircraft plate to that position? Yes, I do. That's going to put me, if I look at my flight settings, what that's doing is setting my exact latitude and longitude that I want to spawn at. I did set an altitude, but because I've said my sim is on the ground, it's going to spawn me at whatever the ground level is in Flight Simulator for this point in space. Hopefully the top of the building. And then also, you would typically set flight runway for an actual runway. If I was to set flight cruise and say I'm not on the ground, then it would use this altitude. In this case, effectively, the result should be the same, except that my aircraft would already be moving through the sky at this altitude. I'm probably better off trying to, if I really want to spawn on top of a building, set it at flight runway so that I'm just running, idling in place. If you could fly a helicopter, this would be the time to use it. I'll go ahead and spawn in the Savage Cub for the purposes of the how-to, but obviously you can change this to anything you want, anything you own in your hangar anyway. So let's just save. I keep a directory by iCal code. I don't want to mess it up. This is just a fun thing. So let's see. Now this might involve some tinkering around. We'll go ahead and spawn on top of the building. So go into world map, load that same flight plan. So there's not a legitimate helipad up there. You would think that some of these buildings would have helipads, but maybe because they're private helipads, they're not listed. It looks like it's got us on the building. There's this little gap between the street and the high rise, and on this side there's probably a parking garage. Okay, and Flight Simulator doesn't know what the heck we're trying to do, so it just grabbed JFK. Oh yeah, it does know what we're trying to do. There we are. So it spawned us right where we asked for, at the top of the MetLife building. And now that we're in the aircraft, let's switch to our drone. There's the, I guess, Chrysler building. The Empire State Building. And there we are on top of the MetLife building, looking at the Chrysler building. There might actually be enough room to take off. If we get back in the cockpit, we could try and take off. Let's see. Maybe that direction. Because there's just that low wall. Oh, well, I don't know if I could fit between those. You know what we could do? Let's adjust our spawn position so that this is our runway. Maybe we'll make it between these two obstacles. So if we zoom way in, we need to adjust our heading about, what is that, 10 degrees? The easiest way to do it is using runway number. You can adjust your heading down to the tenths of a degree if you want to, in a negative or positive direction. So negative will take you counterclockwise around the compass, and positive will take you clockwise around the compass. If we just guessed, I'm gonna call that pretty darn close to, let's call it 110, see where that gets us. So that would be runway 11. Make sure to save, because you've got to load it back up in Flight Simulator. Oh, we need to adjust our position to our left about. Now here we may have a problem, so let's zoom in as far as we can. Well, that's a little ridiculous. So we need to go this direction a little bit. We're going to get a warning telling us at our current zoom level, the point may be shifted slightly in Flight Simulator. Yes, we do want to move it anyway. What it's trying to tell us is that Flight Simulator stores one digit to the right of the decimal on your seconds. So you can have seconds and tenths of seconds. So that's as close as you're ever going to get on the ground. So whatever square that creates on the ground, if you happen to be on the edge of that grid coordinate, you could end up on either side of it, just because Flight Simulator doesn't recognize the hundredths of seconds. There's a certain slop, I guess, especially here where we're trying to just move 10 feet. I've never gone through and calculated what it is, but I don't know that we have that resolution of accuracy. But we'll find out. Now we're going to have to reload. Okay, and I'm actually going to hit reset in world map. Sometimes world map tries to cache your aircraft settings and some other settings. It's trying to do you a favor, but in this case we want to make sure everything gets reloaded from scratch. I know that we'll be able to see the difference in our position just by looking in world map. Maybe a little bit. We got to avoid that. If we can make it straight down the middle, I mean, based on this pin position, looks like we might be okay. So this looks pretty close to what we want. I don't know how much better we can expect. That's pretty much right down our runway, it looks like, what we're calling a runway. Again, if I could fly a helicopter, this might not be so bad. That might be enough with full flaps to get this Savage Cub airborne. Let's see. All right, so it's doable in the Savage Cub. In the interest of full transparency, that was my second try. I clipped that little building on the right the first try. It's definitely doable and it's not terribly difficult. I'll go ahead and load this flight plan at simflightplan.com. I'll put the link to it in the description box so you can go ahead and fly this yourself. It's free to fly for everyone with Microsoft Flight Simulator. But if you have Flight Plan, you can use that same technique. You can pretty much spawn anywhere and take off from anywhere. You might have to fiddle around with it, taking into account that you only have tenths of seconds of latitude and longitude to work with, so there's a certain built-in inaccuracy. And I guess for our helicopter flyers out there, you can pretty much spawn anywhere and take off from anywhere. Myself, I'm lucky to take off from a helipad in a helicopter. Now I guess if we wanted to land back on the roof, or effectively crash into the building, we could follow our flight path right back in. We know it's at 977 feet because we calculated that. I didn't double check it. I see our MetLife building over there. You can barely see the writing of it in the shadow there. It's kind of the one wide building right in the middle of all the skyscrapers. Let's give it a shot. Why not? It's Flight Simulator. There's no risk. Oh, so we could basically use the Chrysler building as a guide. We need to fly right past the tip of the Chrysler building and see if we can get on that roof. Wow, I'm still going way too fast. Hopefully I can stall right over the roof. Well, I crashed into the air conditioner, but that's how you could spawn anywhere. Check out our other videos if you want to spawn in flight or create your own custom airport. This was just a fun video to spawn at any point on Earth and have some fun. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe.